Hey, I'm Zach McDonald, your real estate agent with Real Property Associates. And we're going to talk about assessed value. And this is continuing the conversation about property values and understanding what your house is worth. And assessed values, and when I say assessed values, I'm talking about for tax purposes. Typically, and this is in the Seattle area, these assessed values have lagged behind quite a bit from what the actual market value is, which is nice for you if you're paying taxes because, well, you're paying less in taxes. And in the area, your property taxes are going to go up when the value of your house goes up, and it will go down when the value of your house goes down, if it does. So a common reason right now we're seeing people sell their house or move is because their home values are skyrocketing, which also means their property taxes are skyrocketing. And if you're on a fixed income, right, those increased taxes now all of a sudden become a greater burden, right? And if you're living on a even tighter fixed income, that right, those little increases, or what I'm saying little, but $1,000 a year could be pretty significant for you in your budget. So the first thing I'd like to say, if you're somebody that's curious, like, man, is my home really worth this much because of assessed value? And typically, this is the older generation that asks this question because maybe they are in that situation where they're retired or they just can't believe it. I met with somebody a little over a year ago who told me, I just can't believe that somebody would buy this house for $375,000 now. And that's not even an expensive house in the area, but what they had paid for it was significantly less, and they just couldn't believe it. I said, you know, your house is worth even more than this if we do, these couple things, but I think we can definitely get this price as is. Somebody would pay you that today, and they just couldn't believe it. And I think that idea, it's just wrapping your brain around the numbers maybe. So on one side you have that, right? You have the person that can't believe their house is worth so much, which it probably is. Like I said, typically those numbers actually lag behind what the actual market value is, more of what an appraised value is, or what somebody would be willing to pay on the open market. The appraised value, though, I've found and seen is getting increasingly closer to what the property values actually are. And that's because of these auto valuation online assessment tools. You don't have somebody that has to drive around to every house in the neighborhood and go, looks like they put a new planter box out there, and it looks like they replaced the roof, and it looks like they did a major remodel, because they can't see into your house and they're not peeking in the windows, but they're able to keep tabs a lot easier on the neighborhoods and homes, and because they're using some of those same softwares and systems that we use, right? So the auto valuations, I think, are influencing those appraised values, and I think what we'll see is we'll continue to see a closer link to the appraised value than what we have been seeing, right? We're not going to see necessarily a 3-4 year lag, but maybe it's going to be closer to a year and a half. I think my appraised value for my house this year is now this is for 2019's taxes, is going to be just shy of what I paid for my house a year and a half ago. So it's still lagging behind, but it's a lot closer than some of the values that I've seen in the past. So again, this assessed value, or county's appraised value, is going to be, again, somewhat accurate in the ballpark, but I would take an online estimate or a appraised value way before I would go with an assessed value. So if you're curious about how much your house is worth today, that assessed value is going to have little to no value to you at all, because it's likely going to be significantly less, or just at least significantly off base from what it actually is worth.